750, Big 550, KTRS. Our broadcast partners, Fox 2 News, is the best when it comes to situations like this. Chris Higgins, meteorologist. Chris joins us from Perryville, Missouri. Chris, I understand you were there waiting for the storm?
Yeah, we were down here. I saw that southernmost storm, and a lot of times that becomes the dominant one later in the evening in a situation like this. So I came down here and said, this is the one to be on, and unfortunately that was accurate.
What time did it hit, and how bad was it?
It was about 7:45-ish, give or take. The storm itself started to rotate all the way back out west towards Springfield, Missouri, but it really didn't spin down to the ground and start creating damage until just a couple miles west of Interstate 55, and it went from nothing to hellacious in a matter of seconds, and then it stayed on the ground for early estimates at least maybe 13 to 15 miles, and I mean it is purely catastrophic damage.
Where were you when all of this was going on? Because hopefully you weren't storm chasing this.
Yeah, at night you don't storm chase, you observe, and that's what I was doing. I got a good look at it on radar, and I got off at the Perryville exit, the main Perryville exit down there, and was watching the storm come in, and it was about 5 miles out, and at that point it looked like it was going to come right for where I was. I was at the McDonald's parking lot looking west, and the radar and everything in the clouds, like, man, this thing's going to come right at us. So I was about to head further south on 55 to get further out of the way, but then at the last minute it started to come a little bit more to the northeast. So I ended up staying put for another minute or two, and then as it was clear that it was going to pass to the north, hit Interstate 55 and started easing northbound to see, if in fact something could touch down. And not long after that, I saw the power flashes, which at night's about the only thing you can use to tell that there's a tornado on the ground. And then a minute or two after that came up on the damage along the interstate.
We're looking at some of the pictures on Fox 2, and as you said, it looks like full neighborhoods are completely devastated. How wide is the damage?
Yeah, my best estimate is that the damage path width is about a quarter of a mile, maybe a little bit more, from one side to the other. And in terms of the overall length, we don't know that one yet. They're going to have to fly that with the helicopter. But we know that this storm did continue to produce tornadoes, whether it was one or multiple tornadoes from here across into southern Illinois, where there was a fair amount of damage over there in Illinois on the other side of the river. But this was a long track, devastating tornado.
I know that fatality happened on I-55, but I also heard from authorities that some cars from a junkyard were actually kind of thrown onto the interstate too?
Yeah, there's, in fact, I'm literally standing in that. There's a salvage yard up here where there were a bunch of old salvage cars stacked up, as you sometimes see, and the tornado went right through that. And that was part of what was the confusing thing for us when I arrived on the scene a couple of seconds after the tornado crossed the interstate. It looked like a couple of dozen cars smashed to all get out and laying on either side of the interstate. My first impression, as well as the impression of the other folks who were pulling up, seems like, oh my God, there's going to be dozens of people dead. You hear things clanging around, and we thought we heard people screaming from these cars. And most of those cars were actually cars from the salvage yard, thank God. Had those actually been vehicles that were driving up and down 55, and it was bad enough to come across one body last night, but I mean, it could have been significantly worse.
Chris Higgins with us, who was on the scene first in Perryville before the tornado hit. Chris, quickly, going forward, we hear your forecast. Is winter over with? Is there another storm coming? What are your thoughts as you watch the spring come early here in St. Louis?
March is a long month. Just a couple of years ago, we had one of our biggest snows on record came towards the end of the month on Palm Sunday. It was like 15 inches. So anything is possible, and I would never rule winter and snow out until after tax day. We've had snow as late as early May, back in 1929, the latest snow. At this point, there's nothing imminent, although I haven't looked at anything today or yesterday,
right,
that long term. But I certainly would not rule out at least some snow before the end of the season.
All right, Chris Higgins, good work. Nice get, and be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, McGraw.
You got it. Chris Higgins with Fox 2 News, who was, that they say you can't predict tornadoes, but clearly he looked at the radar and made a value judgment and was there before the tornado hit. So pretty unbelievable stuff. Thanks, Chris Higgins from Fox